What's up, me? What is this? Sober Wednesday 4, January 7th. And today's a huge nothing burger. Don't have too much to talk about today. Woke up at 7, got ready, went to the plasma donation, donated some plasma. Obviously, that's why I would go there. I'm pretty tired right now, I ain't gonna lie. Came back, bullshitted. I did an hour walk, or really two 30-minute walks. I ain't even gonna call it an hour. I'm walking for a half hour, coming back up here, taking a breather for a little bit, and then before I go back out. At this time, after the first half hour, I came back up here and put in an application for HEB, and that's the only application I did today. I hit up my cousin. She works at a funeral home, and it'd be cool to work with her, so I asked her to see what's up, and she'll get back to me tomorrow, but it doesn't seem likely. I don't want to do too many applications at once, because I don't want to get like 2 callbacks, and then I have to make a choice, so do like one a day, and if it starts looking bad, I'll start applying at fast food. Now, I was going to try to do this like DoorDash, Uber stuff, but I just got my license, and you can't apply with the paper license. I tried, and it was like, nope. So I have to wait until I get my actual license to apply for that. So sooner or later. It's all good though, because I already have enough money to pay my next month's rent, which is like February 3rd, and right now it's January 7th. So like that's a long time, because I still have enough money left over. Even if I save that money, there's enough other money that I have left over that should be covering me for the rest of this month without having to ask for any handouts from anybody, or any loans, I should say, not handouts necessarily. And especially if I keep donating plasma, that's another couple $100 right there. So I do have a buffer. I have at least like a month. But if I have really bad luck, I'm gonna be putting in applications. So even if one a day, if I haven't had any good luck by next month, that's still like 30 applications I've put in. So that's no small number in my opinion. It's kind of cool though, because on the HEB thing, you do an interview with a virtual interview. So instead of being face to face with someone, I hate doing that. Then they ask all the stupid questions. Well, did you ever find yourself in a situation where things weren't going your way, and how did you team up with your coworkers to figure out the situation? I hate questions like that. So this format's way better. You don't have to think on the spot. Once you get the question asked, you can spend as much time as you need. Like they give you like a week of or no, not even a week, just like you have 3 days once you once you tell them the application that you're gonna do the virtual interview, you have 3 days to do it. So you have, functionally, all the time you need to answer a question, as opposed to sitting next to someone and be like, but one time this one thing happened, and then we did this, and then we did that, and then you just look like a fool and you don't get hired. So it was only like 7 questions too. It only took like 20 minutes. So that was cool. Hopefully I get that job. I've always wanted to work at HEB. I don't care what it is. I love that store. I want to work in a grocery store. Next, I'll apply at Walmart, obviously. We have a Market Street. Then there's all the dollar stores, and then, like pizza places I'll do, and then there's like a meat market factory, a meat packing plant where, they do everything from killing the cows to, packaging them, where I could go make a shitload of money, but they work like 12-hour days, and like, it's a lot of money, man. Someone told me once that I wouldn't be able to work there because I'm too tall. It's like too compact in there, but I don't know. That's just something somebody said, because they can't handle the fact of how tall I am, because short people, and I get it. When I see people taller than me, I have the same reaction. So I get it. It's like, wow, you're so tall. Like, I get it. Especially it's more pronounced when it happens to me, because it's very rare for me. But push comes to shove, I'm gonna get a job if I'm miserable. I would like to be able to do this DoorDash, I could be Uber, Lyft, all this stuff, because you don't really have to apply, or not apply, but like, it's different than like a conventional job. But HEB would be cool. So anyway, I'm on that job shit, so that's cool. And so I finished my walk, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to Walmart. So I'm in Walmart for like an hour and a half shopping. When I go to check out, I go to pay with my phone, and they don't accept the phone tap thing there. I was like, what the hell? So I go to their ATM, and their ATM accepts it, but it wouldn't give me no money for some reason. And I was like, look, I told the cashier, I was like, can you just hang on to this? Like, I just spent 2 hours shopping for this. I promise you, I'm coming back. I'm just gonna run to the ATM at my bank real quick, and it should work there. Like, and I was serious. I wasn't gonna just leave because I spent so much time shopping. You know, so I go to my bank and it doesn't work. And like part of me was like kind of relieved, like I could just go home and shit and not worry about it. But then I was like, damn it, man. And I was like, I should call them back and see if they can hold it for me overnight so I can handle this bank situation in the morning and go back. So I called them to let them know, and they're like, nah, our system doesn't let us do that. Sorry about that. And I was like, no, I'm so sorry, because I feel bad like someone has to put all those groceries back. Even though it looks like nowadays, like that's an actual job position where you see people putting groceries back on the shelf all the time. But like back when I was a kid, that was not its own position. That was like, you know, a customer done fucked you over and like you have an extra workload. Especially like when I worked at Albertsons when I was 16, 17 years old. If something like that happened, you had to do it. There wasn't like a designated position for people to do that. So it's probably not as big of a deal as I think it is. I guess I'm probably just like a baby boomer as far as that goes. So I gotta go shopping tomorrow. I get to go to the bank and be like, hey man, I can't spend my money, which is, you know, kind of weird since, you know, usually when you have money that's, you know, you're trying to spend it, you know. So, I mean, I appreciate you providing me with a bank account, but I was also wondering if you could provide me with the ability to spend my money. If that's not too much to ask, you know. Just a little bit of ability to spend my money. I know, crazy, right? It'll probably wind up being something that I did wrong, I'm sure, because I'm a boomer and I've never had this like Google Wallet or all this fancy high-tech stuff. So I get back, and I used to think like churches had Wednesday services, and I saw the church I go to has a 6 o'clock on their schedule. So I just walked over there assuming like they would kind of be like the Sunday service, but just on Wednesday evenings. But it wasn't. There's just like a room. There's like 6 guys in there, and I almost didn't go in there. I was like, "Fuck it, I'll just go in there." And like they shook my hand, they welcomed me in, and we sat down. And like people had their Bibles out, but it was just like they were just talking about like what's going on in their lives personally. It was almost like an AA meeting, you know. And I was like, "Am I supposed to be here?" Like, I mean, obviously they welcomed me in, you know, but you know. Most of those guys probably had seen me before. There was one guy for sure who had seen me before because he introduced himself to me the first time I went to the church. So I tried. I sat there for like half an hour, like confused about why I was there. We weren't reading from the Bible. I mean, the topics were Christian. Everything they were talking about was related to, you know, being Christian. And they're talking about like suffering and, you know, how, you know, suffering leads to this, that, and the other. I'm still too new to really, you know, vocalize it myself, but finally, I was like, man, I gotta use the bathroom, and then I just fucking dipped out of there. So I didn't go to a meeting because it was like right after the deflation from the Walmart thing, and then going through this thing at the church that I don't feel like I was supposed to be there. I was like, man, I'm taking this day off. It's been like a week and a half since I took a day off from AA anyway. And like, I'm not gonna go walking tonight either because I'm like super sleepy and I'm so deflated from the day. I'm not like mad or upset or anything. I'm just like, you know. So some interesting stuff. Adrian Gonzalez, the dude on trial for allegedly abandoning and, you know, abusing children because he didn't, you know, he allowed the Uvalde massacre, allegedly, according to the state of Texas. There was almost a mistrial today because apparently the prosecution did not give information to the defense, which is a big no-no. But apparently the judge did not grant a mistrial. But still, I mean, I stand by what I said today. This dude is not guilty. I'm sorry, man. It's so transparent to me that people just want to see someone's head roll. That's it. He's a sacrificial lamb. And apparently there's another guy who's going to go on trial after this because they keep saying there's 2 of them who are going on trial. And another story was that Alan Jackson stepped down from being Nick Reiner's attorney. And I like Alan Jackson because he was Karen Reed's defense attorney. And as soon as I followed the case, Karen Reed, by the time I got into true crime, it had already been like a year and a half after the murder of John O'Keefe. And then I was exposed to like Turtle Boy, who I used to think was cool. I don't like him. I haven't liked him I haven't liked him since like the first trial that ended in a mistrial. So it's been a while since I didn't like that little short dude because he's so narcissistic. It's hard to look at him. There's some of these short guys just being just like absurdly narcissistic. I guess it's a compensation thing. It's kind of like the same thing with some other certain types of women who are absurdly overconfident. But anyway, Alan Jackson, he stepped down from Nick Reiner and he gave a press conference and he said, take it to the bank that Nick Reiner is not guilty. And so I watched Lawyer You Know with Paul. I can't remember his last name. It's a Greek last name, so whatever. Of course, I can't pronounce it properly anyway. But his interpretation of that was that he thinks that Alan Jackson thinks that they have a solid case for guilty or not guilty by insanity. Which, whatever, even if that happens, he's still going away for decades. I mean, all the idiots who they're not idiots, they just don't know, like, they're not true crime fanatics, I was that guy 2.5 years ago, so I don't want to call them idiots, but a lot of these people, they just think, like, if he's not guilty by reason of insanity, then he's just going to go home and chill, eat ice cream, and watch Netflix. But that's not what's going to happen. Like, this dude is not going to be in public for a very, very long time, and hopefully he is found guilty, because I think he's guilty, because he fled the scene. He attempted to clean up at the hotel room. That's consciousness of guilt. He knows what he did was wrong. It doesn't matter how schizophrenic he is. That doesn't matter. He knew in the moment that what he did was wrong. That's why he had a consciousness of guilt. He didn't just stay there like, some of these insane people, they just stay there and they think they did something that wasn't wrong and, they're crazy. Or like, the Sheriff Stein guy who killed the Judge Mullins, on camera, and he was acting all weird when they were arresting him and shit. Like, that kind of seems more insane, even though I've got pushback from that when I let the comment saying that someone was like, oh, he's not insane, he was part of this sex ring or something, and he's just mad because he was going to get caught or something. So, I don't know. There's a conspiracy theory for everything. There's people out there who think Brian Koberger is not the guy who killed those 4 students, Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and fucking Ethan. I mean, Anthony Johnson gets in a damn car wreck, and I have a friend who says, oh, it's definitely a conspiracy theory because Francis Ngannou killed a pedestrian in Cameroon earlier this year, and now AJ's getting in a wreck in Nigeria. So obviously that means that whatever the official story is a lie, and that they were secretly doing some secret shit. So, because obviously, right? I mean, because of course, like, shit just can't happen, and that's what it was. Like, Nick Reiner, I guess, he was about to expose the Hollywood pedo, so now he's been framed for killing his parents. It's not that he just killed his parents because he's a selfish, evil piece of shit. Oh no, or the Menendez brothers' defense. Oh, obviously Rob Reiner was raping them like hotcakes when he was a kid. They just never ends with the nonsense, man. So anyway, Nick was granted a court-appointed attorney, which according to Lawyer You Know, which is a great channel, check them out. All 3 of you who are watching this, I'm going to help yourselves. According to him, since he's now got a court-appointed attorney, that means that Alan Jackson probably stepped down because the money wasn't there. Because if the money was there and he stepped down for some other reason, then, Nick would have got another, high-profile, high-powered lawyer, but now he's got a court-appointed lawyer. So anyway, interesting news for the day of true crime. ICE agent apparently, quote-unquote, murdered this lady who was apparently blocking their operation. I don't know the details. I don't know if she deserved to be shot dead either, even if she was being a nuisance or whatever. Anyway, guys, talk to me later.